Hello, Blue Jays fans. Welcome to Sunny Side of the Dome. I'm your host, Karen Soutar, and I'll be with you to talk some Blue Jays baseball for the next half hour or so. Sunny Side of the Dome is brought to you by Jays from the Couch. We normally stream live Thursdays at 6 p.m. Today's a special date because Blue Jays have an afternoon game at 3:07, and I'm actually going to the game. So fingers crossed it's a good one. But thanks for tuning in tonight. And if you're watching the live show, you can catch us on Jays from the Couch's Facebook or Twitter pages or the YouTube channel. If you do happen to be tuning in live and you think of a question or a comment, please do send them all in. I love that interaction with fans. I think it makes the show that much better. If you're not tuning in live, but you still want to check us out, no problem. When you are ready for us, we're ready for you. You can always catch the archived version on any one of those medium, so Facebook, Twitter, or the YouTube channel. And if you like the content here at Sunny Side of the Dome, there's lots more where that came from. There's Jays from the Couch's main podcast, which is Mondays at 6 p.m. Lots of interesting stuff there. Shaun Doyle is the host. Lots of other people on there to share viewpoints. And it's available as a radio podcast. You can download and listen, or you can watch whatever you feel like. And the other YouTube show that you should check out if you haven't been is the On-Feck Circle, which is Tuesdays at 6 p.m. That's hosted by Steve Feck, my Jays from the Couch colleague. A very smart man, very unique way of looking at things, entertaining, funny, but also very informative. So definitely check that out if you haven't been. That's the On-Feck Circle Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And hello, Blue Jays fans. Happy Wednesday evening. I almost said Thursday. Force of habit there. Anyway, hope everybody's doing well. I am. I'm looking forward to going to a couple of games over the next couple of days, and hopefully there'll be some good games, and the Jays can get some more wins in the books and all of that. So lots to talk about this evening. So leading off, as usual, transactions over the last little bit, last 6 days, 7 days. So Tim Meza, he had been on the IL, and there was some concern with his injury history that it might end up being a lengthy thing. Fortunately, he wasn't out for all that long because when he is healthy and contributing, he is a very good pitcher. He's, as we all know, he's left-handed, so the Jays definitely want to use his services when they're available. So he joined AAA Buffalo Bisons. I believe he just had the one rehab stint, and then he was activated. So he's back. Welcome back, Tim Meza. Hit the ground running, has been used, has done quite well, and all is great that way. So some more injured pitchers. So it's been a little bit of a merry-go-round in the bullpen, unfortunately. So we had Andrew Vasquez, another left-handed pitcher, kind of a low-leverage guy. That's how he's been used. Unfortunately, his results have been mixed, not always that great. So he went on the injured list with a right ankle sprain. So when he was IL'd, and then they brought back Jeremy Beasley. So he was called back up, Beasley, and then he was sent back down. But then he was called back up again when Julian Merriweather went on the IL. So Vasquez has a right ankle sprain. Julian Merriweather actually has a left abdominal strain, and I think he's going for some tests. I read he was going for an MRI, so I guess they want to see the extent of it. So Jeremy Beasley, sort of feel bad for him. He's been on a little bit of a roller coaster there, up, down, up. But anyway, he's back for now, and see how he does, if he can catch on and maybe find a way to get guys out consistently. Let's hope anyway. Taylor Saucedo, speaking of left-handed pitchers, seems to be a theme here. I don't know how many Jays fans even remember him. He was with the team for a while last year, and he's actually been on the injured list for a while, but he's on a rehab assignment now. So he's a pitcher, I think, with some potential. So all the best to him. Hope he can get healthy and maybe come back and contribute. And along the theme of injuries and rehab and so forth, there's no official transaction because Nate Pearson has been on a rehab assignment for a while. But he threw, and it looks like he's gradually building his strength back up. He's been out with mono, but yes, he had another outing at AAA Buffalo, and apparently his velocity was up to 98, 99, so that's certainly good. We know that Pearson, when he's healthy, one of the weapons that he has is the high velocity, so we're really hoping for the best for him. I mean, you've got Alek Manoah kind of doing in Major League Baseball, but what people expected Nate Pearson to do. So wonderful for the Jays, wonderful for Manoah. Still haven't given up on Pearson. I still really, really hope that he can find a way to stay healthy and reach some of that potential that we've been hearing about for years since he was drafted by the Jays. So and maybe we'll see him once he earns it. That was a comment that they made, that they're not going to just bring him up out of desperation because they need an arm or anything. If when he gets the call, he will have earned it. So I'm really, really hoping that happens. So yes, that's the pitching news. Catching, so I know I mentioned briefly last Thursday because it wasn't yet official, but unofficially the news broke that Gabriel Moreno, that there's been a little confusion about the pronunciation of his name, but apparently per Dan Schulman, and he did some inquiring, that it's not Moreno and it's not Moreno, it's actually Moreno. So if he wanted to know that, that's apparently what he prefers. So that's his name. So he was officially called up, activated on Saturday, made his major league debut, and of course there had to be a transaction going the other way. So Zach Collins was optioned to AAA. So all the best to him. But yes, Moreno, he's gotten into 3 games. He's caught a bit. We've seen some of the elite tools that made him the Blue Jays' number 1 prospect, number 4 prospect in all of MLB right now. I mean, his ability to throw out base runners, he's already got a couple of caught stealing. The first one was rather interesting. He officially got a caught stealing when the runner wasn't out because the infielder, Bo Bichette, could not hang on to the ball. It was thrown to him, so he dropped it, and it was officially scored, and changed actually, officially scored a caught stealing and an error. But then he got a caught stealing after that yesterday, where the runner was actually out. And the runner for the Orioles, he was actually one of the fastest runners in baseball. And Moreno still threw him out. So very exciting to look at him for the future and all the tools that he's got. I mean, there was even a ground ball in Detroit that he attempted to run out, and he was just barely thrown out. And they measured his sprint speed at 29.7. Sprint speed for a catcher, 29.7. That's insane. 30.0 is considered elite. It's like the best in baseball are 30.0 or thereabouts, and you've got this catcher here. Yes, he's young. He's only 22, but he's really able to do some things. Very, very small sample size. He's hitting all singles so far, but to a tune of 364. So very excited to see what he does with the Blue Jays over time and how he will acclimate and settle in and the player that he will end up being. So that's very exciting there. So sort of kind of moving with transactions and into the heart of the order. And today I want to talk about the team's overall performance, and I want to be more specific and look at some of the pitching. And while I'm very, very happy with the team overall, there's a little bit of cause for concern with the pitching. So again, no, it's not an official transaction because Hyun-Jin Ryu has been on the injured list for some time now, and it was reported as soon as he was put on the IL, they said he will miss multiple weeks. And with his injury history, his age, all the innings that he's pitched between MLB and the South Korean League, the KBO, I mean, he has a lot of innings under that left arm there. So I don't know how anybody else felt where Ryu was concerned. Not much was going to surprise me at that point, and when it was officially reported that he's going to have season-ending surgery on the elbow, and they're not certain yet whether that's Tommy John surgery or something a little less serious. There could be a partial tear or a full tear. So partial tear is a little less serious, but either way, you're looking at season-ending surgery. So really too bad about Ryu. He's on a 4-year contract that he signed in the off season between 2019 and 2020. And I mean, he was really good. He was really good in 2020. Now, that was a shortened season, but he finished top 3 in American League Cy Young voting that year. And then he was good for a lot of the year. Last year, he had a few really good months, one so-so month, but then the last couple of seasons, he just really wasn't pitching well at all. Excuse me just a moment. So yeah, you didn't really know what was happening with him and which version of Ryu that we would get this year. And it turns out we kind of got both versions. I mean, he was good, he wasn't good, he was injured, he came back. I wasn't sure how he would be when he came back off the IL before, and he actually had a few decent starts, but then his last start wasn't good. And then it turned out that there was a reason for it, and he needed season ending surgery. So, Ryu, all the best to you. And the comments that I'm reading, and it's pretty much how I feel as well, that the Blue Jays in 2019, everybody knew that it was a rebuilding season. Then they went out in the offseason and they signed someone who was at the time one of the top free agent starting pitchers. And I think that signified for the Blue Jays, for the entire professional baseball world and MLB at the very least, that the Jays had turned the corner and they were no longer officially rebuilding. They were adding players and willing to spend money in order to try to win. And Ryu was, in a way, he was the start of that. So all the best to him for what we got from him, and who knows, I mean, he's definitely not back this year. Who knows how much of next year he'll miss if it's Tommy John surgery. Then is typically with Tommy John, you're looking at least a year, and who knows if he's even thrown his last pitch in a Toronto Blue Jays uniform. I hope not. It would be great to have him come back, see him come back, and pitch well to end off that contract. I'm not saying career. I don't know what he's going to do after this contract, if he'll look to play somewhere or what he'll end up doing. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, and all the best to him. So unfortunately, that's left a bit of a hole in the rotation, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the Blue Jays, over close to a month now, a stretch of games from May the 16th through now June the 14th. That's a pretty decent stretch of games. We're talking about just about a month there. So the record over that time, 18 wins and 8 losses. That is a winning percentage of 692, which is darn good. If they were to play at a 692 pace for the entire season, that's a 112 win pace. Easily shattering the franchise record for wins there. So if you're a Blue Jay fan, I really think you have to be happy overall with how they've been doing since the middle of May. They played a series in Tampa against the Rays May 13th through 15th, and they lost the series 2 games to 1. And it was after that that they really seemed to turn the corner. Excuse me again. So yes, 18-8, and included in that are 6 series wins, 1 tie, a short series in St. Louis that was only 2 games. They won one, they lost one, and they lost 1 series to the Minnesota Twins. So that was rather unfortunate. But overall, I really think that we have to be very happy about this team with a few concerns. So, going into the season, 2 major strengths of this team were supposed to be the lineup and the rotation. So the lineup, as everybody knows, a lot of them got off to very slow starts, and people were wondering what's with the lineup. Are they ever going to hit? Some even people even took it as far as to say, you know what, they were overrated. This is as good as they're going to get. And I would hear and read those things and really want to tear my hair out, because that's just, in my opinion, so silly. These guys, most of them, have a track record in Major League Baseball, and they didn't all of a sudden forget how to hit. And they're not old. I mean, George Springer, as far as the position players, is probably the oldest one. He's in his early 30s, but most of these guys are like earlier 20s, mid 20s. A couple of them are like 28, 29, whatever. But and to me, it was silly to think that the hitters wouldn't hit, and they've bust out. And over the last 3, 4 weeks, their numbers in all major hitting categories are first in Major League Baseball. Kind of touched on some of that last week's episode, so don't want to be too repetitive here. But looking at the starting rotation, so there's an area of concern, as we were talking about. Ryu is gone for the season, unfortunately. Ross Stripling has actually stepped into the rotation. He sort of began the season as the 6th starter swingman. He was in the bullpen, but I think everybody always knew that if there was going to be an injury at some point, that he would be the first one to get the call. So Ross Stripling, his numbers in 7 games started. So when Ryu went on the IL the first time, and since he's been out and now out for the season, so Stripling's been back in the rotation. 7 games started, 2.81 ERA, and a weighted on base average of 231. Ross Stripling, bravo, and thank you. You're one of the unsung heroes of this team. He's really, really helped. That the loss of Ryu hasn't been much worse than it could have been, leaving this gaping hole in the rotation for a team that definitely has playoff aspirations, championship aspirations, perhaps. And you really need the rotation to keep it together and to give the team a chance to win. So thank you to Stripling. For me, and probably for a lot of Jays fans, and certainly for their management, a major area of concern right now is Yusei Kikuchi. And they knew, I mean, he had a major league track record prior to signing a 3-year free agent contract with the Blue Jays. And to be honest, he'd been very inconsistent. A lot of his prior history with the Seattle Mariners really wasn't positive. He was an all-star last year. He had a very good first half, and then the wheels just kind of fell off for him. And with the Toronto Blue Jays, he's really been up and down. He wasn't good, and then he was good, and I thought, okay, maybe they figured out something, what it is that he needs to be successful. Well, his last 4 starts, unfortunately, have been pretty forgettable. He has an ERA over 8. 8.16, weighted on base average 484. That's not going to cut it. Like that's not even, it's realistically, it's not even at the level of a 5th starter who's competent in Major League Baseball. That's it. I really, really hope, I'm sure we all do, that he can turn it around. That's whether Pete Walker is working with him. I'm sure he must be. If they can find some sort of key to for him to succeed, to just get him in the strike zone for one thing, because he's walking too many darn batters. And yeah, we're really hoping that that's going to work out. And well, if not, then we'll see what they end up doing. But they're committed to him for 3 years. So I don't know how much time he might even spend on the injured list if he doesn't sort it out. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But over that stretch, so going from May the 16th through June the 14th, the Blue Jays really have a trio of arms that has been helping them win. So Jose Barrios has sort of been up and down. He's had at least 2 or 3 forgettable starts, unfortunately. And you know what? It happens. They're all human. Just like I'm saying with Kikuchi, that I really hope he sorts it out, because the stuff is there. His fastball, of the starting pitchers, apparently he's one of the best. Fastballs among the rotation, then the highest average rate and all of that, average velocity around 95. Um, but anyway, sorry, I digress there. So Jose Barrios, he had a couple of forgettable starts, but in this stretch where the team as a whole has been doing very well, his ERA just over 3.5, so 3.52, weighted on base average, not bad at 302. And yeah, he's definitely looked better the last 2 or 3 times out, and he's going today. So all the best to him. Hope that he can have another really good start and give the team a chance to get back in the win column after yesterday's unfortunate loss. Kevin Guzman, ERA of 3.16. Weighted on base average, a little bit high, 342. There's been a little bit of concern over his past 2 to 3 starts about it. It almost seemed like batters knew what was coming, according to observers such as Joe Siddle, that wondered if he might be tipping his pitches. So whatever's going on, but his last start was definitely better than the one before that. So hopefully whatever's going on, they've pinpointed it, they've found a way to correct it, and he can continue to be very good, because pretty much all season he's definitely been a find. He's been a terrific addition to the rotation. Alec Manoa, oh my goodness. Weighted on base average 250, ERA 160. He currently, of qualifying pitchers, he leads the American League in earned run average. Wow. I mean, is he your Cy Young Award winner? I know there's a few other pitchers also having good seasons. He's got to at least be in the mix. Knock on wood, if his performance doesn't take a giant step back, he's got to be one of the front runners. And wouldn't that be something if the Blue Jays had back-to-back Cy Young Award winners? So, yes, all the best. That would really be great. And yeah, and then there's other possibilities. If I don't know, I'm hoping that Kikuchi is healthy and that they just need to work with him and find something out. If they feel like they need an injured list stint, I mean, there's some pitchers at AAA. One name I've heard about a little bit is Max Castillo. He's 23 years old, a right-hand pitcher. He's split this season so far with AA and AAA, and had some pretty good numbers at both stops. There's some other pitchers down there, names that we're a little more familiar with, guys who were on the 40-man roster and who have pitched with the Major League club before. Anthony Kay. One name I'm hearing a fair bit of is Thomas Hatch. Now, if you look at his overall numbers, they don't look all that impressive, but apparently he's done a lot better lately than he did to start the season. So I'm hearing that if they need help in the rotation, at least internally, he is one of the ones that might get the call sooner than later. So lots to keep our eyes on. Excuse me a moment. Anyway, so We're running a little late, and that's almost the end of the show for today. So that brings us to Through Blue Jay Colored Glasses. So let's talk about this team. Let's talk about how they look right now and what they need to do to move forward. So, Fangraphs has their odds just to make the playoffs pretty high at 96.8%. I'm happy with that. I'm impressed by that. Now, if you break it down further, they go into other things, talk about odds of them being a wild card team, odds of them winning the division, and then odds of them going on to win the World Series. And I mean, they're a little bit lower, but they're still in there. But I really think that this team is a playoff team for all the talent that they have, for all the different pieces. That's they're going to get there, and I really do believe that they're in for a deep playoff run. So, what do they need to do? Because they're a very good team, but they're not a perfect team. We see these little bumps in the road. We see Yusei Kikuchi struggling with whatever, and at this point, none of us really know when he's going to put it all together. So hopefully soon, but it could happen. I mean, the deadline is coming up. It's about a month and a half away. And I would not be surprised to see the Blue Jays go outside the organization and look for some more help. In fact, I'll phrase that another way. I'd be very surprised if they don't look outside the organization, excuse me, outside the organization for some help. I really believe that they will. So, and I mean, they've got trade chips. They've got some good players, some good talents in their minor league system. I'm sure some of those players they're going to want to hang on to. They can't hang on to all of them. I mean, for the simple fact that there isn't enough room on the roster, isn't enough room on the 40-man roster, and there isn't enough room on the major league roster because sooner or later, the ones that are really good, they're going to want to get their shot in Major League Baseball. That might not be with the Jays. Still to be seen, of course. Interesting few years coming up. But I am confident that the Blue Jays are going to do what needs to be done to shore up this team. I mean, you look back at 2015, now that was a different head office, but regardless, 2015, when Alex Anthopoulos went out and made the moves that he did, the Blue Jays were 50 and 51, but they had this insane run differential, and that told management that really this team is a much better team than their record would indicate, and you just have to go out and plug a few holes and then see them see them take the ball and run with it. And that's what happened, and it was a magical season for a few months for us Blue Jay fans. This team, they've already got the third best record in the American League. They have a better record than one of the division leaders, the Minnesota Twins, and everybody else other than the New York Yankees and the Houston Astros. And then there's our Blue Jays. So they have a chance, I believe, to do something very special this season. And I'm not even going to worry about after this season. But this season, I think they are a very good team, and they're going to continue to get better and carry that over into the playoffs. I don't think we've seen the best that they have yet. I think there's going to come a point where they're all firing on all cylinders. And if that's boosted by one or two external acquisitions, then so be it. Sometimes that can really put the wind into a team's sails, kind of like they did in 2015 when they went out and shored up the defense at shortstop by trading for Troy Tulowitzki, by acquiring a legitimate ace starter in the rotation for David Price, when really I don't think that they had an undisputed rotation ace since Roy Halladay at that point. So Marcus Stroman was still early in his career. He'd had an up and down rookie season in 2014, and then he missed most of the 2015 season with that injury. So I mean, you couldn't get call Marcus Stroman an ace type pitcher. But yeah, just adding those guys and the way it seemed to boost the team overall. And they went out and won a bunch of games and had a very exciting playoffs. And one that I think could have, maybe should have, if it weren't for a few bad breaks, gone better than it was. I think this team is every good bit as good as that team was, and maybe better, because you've got a lot more guys that are in their prime, and I mean, they're so close. They're a very, very good team, and I don't doubt for a second that they're going to add and going to become that much better. We haven't seen the best that they have to offer us. I still say they're going to catch the Yankees. They're going to win the AL East division, and they're going to bring us another one of those trophy things. So it's been several years since 92, 93. I think it's about time. I know I'm ready. Are you? And on that note, that's pretty much all I've got for you for this evening. So thanks for tuning in on this special night. Let's go Blue Jays, and see you again in a week.